Hello, hello, hello. I hope that you are great wherever you are. My name is Nduta Wambura, and if you're new to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Put your notifications bell on so that you can get notified every single time there's such a video, or perhaps maybe I have videos that I am uploading. You can obviously, check them out. I have several videos on this channel that are related to study abroad, life abroad, some processes within which you can go through and be able to do it yourself. So I've done quite a number of videos, honestly speaking. So please make sure that in case any one of them, resonates with you, you can always thumbs it up. You can always let me know which other videos you would like to see on this channel. And thank you so much for joining. If you're joining it much later, this video is going to stay on this channel and you can watch it much later and be able to follow through the steps that, you would be able to actually follow through when either writing a CV using the Europass format, or if maybe you're trying to apply for a scholarship, especially for Erasmus. I do speak a lot about the application procedures for Erasmus. I've done a couple of interviews as well with several people who have already applied for the scholarship, and also people who have gone through the program itself, really. So please, if you're joining me right now, let me know where you're listening in from, what you'd like to know from this session. These sessions usually last for 1 hour, and so I will just go right into it so that we can have some bit of time for any questions, any thoughts that you have, anything that you're wondering about the application procedure. Really, this is your time to ask your questions. It's your time to get to understand exactly what is required of you when creating your Europass CV. Now, I want to say that the Europass CV is not just for Erasmus. So the Europass CV format is very, very crucial, especially when it comes to when you're applying for a scholarship, whether that is within Europe or any other admission, whether that's a self-funded, uh, self-funded program within Europe, or even a job. If you're applying for a job within Europe, then you would need to have your CV using the Europass CV format. And the Europass CV format, if you're listening to this and you're wondering what exactly is it, I will explain in a little bit. So please, if you're joining me, let me know if you have any questions, if you have any doubts about it. You might have already seen this, especially if you're applying for Erasmus. You have seen maybe most of the programs asking for you to provide a CV using the Europass format. So here we go. So let me know where you're joining in from. Share this video with someone else who can benefit from it, and be able to see exactly what is required of you in when applying for Europass CV format. So I will go right into it and share my screen so that you can be able to follow through. I hope that either you're taking some notes or you have your laptop open. It would be advisable to actually be on a laptop when you're doing this so that you have a good interface and you're not wondering what exactly is happening here. So it's very crucial to have your laptop on so that it's easy to follow through. Okay, so the Europass CV Builder, pretty much this is a free website. So nobody should be asking for any money from you when trying to create a Europass CV format. And it's as you can see here, it's the best known CV format in Europe, and it's highly acceptable in several places, whether you're looking for education, whether you're looking for work experience, whether you're looking for training, and so on and so forth. So you will create your Europass profile using, your experiences, your training, your education, and you can use this CV for a scholarship application, for a job application, for admission into any school, and so on and so forth. And so usually this is the website which you get to use. And the website is basically Europass. If you just type any Europass on Google, you should be able to get this website. Pretty much the first thing that shows up should be this website. However, I'm just going to send in this link in case you're following through with me. And I will send this link on the chat so that you can follow through and you can get to see which link I'm talking about and maybe click on it and use that to create your CV. So tailoring your CV on this website is absolutely 100% free. And the reason as to why this is a very good, site is because that it gives you pretty much everything that you need to know. You can just come here on this website and read through how to create a good CV right there. And ideally, what they usually look for is how you have tailored your CV, whether it's into a job or into a scholarship application, and so on and so forth. So if you're already on this site, right, you have seen this site already. So the first thing that you would need to do is to log in. So you would click on login, right? And once you click on login, I have already logged in, so perhaps it will just show me here to authenticate my account. So it used to be very compulsory for you to authenticate your Europass profile, but it's no longer compulsory. As you can see here, it's something that has been done away with. However, I would 100% recommend for you to authenticate, get a 2FA login for this website, just because it helps with the data, it helps with passwords, it helps with security, and so on and so forth. So this is very crucial step to actually go through. So if you are looking to do this, it's easy. It's going to be, if you say yes here, then it would redirect you to the process of authenticating, and they ask you what you need to do in terms of authenticating, whether you want to use an authenticating app on your phone. So this can be a phone that is an Android or an iOS, an Apple phone, or you can link your electronic ID to your EU login account. So in this case, perhaps this might not be very, relevant to anyone who is not within the European continent. So you can skip this and instead either add your smartphone to your EU login account or download the EU login app onto your phone and be able to authenticate there. In some cases, you can actually use the the authenticating app, which is just available on either App Store or Google Play, which you can actually just download and get it. And as you can see already here, there's also a tutorial on how to do this. And if you check this tutorial, it's going to tell you pretty much the same. And you can, in case this is something that you're not understanding as much, the 2FA authentication is just an extra security, over and above your password, so that you can have your credentials secure, you can have your account secure, and your account is safe from any theft of information and any misuse that could happen in the future. So the 2FA authentication is very much straightforward. And so once you complete the 2FA authentication process, what happens is that this website now redirects you into now having logged in. Like I mentioned before, I have already logged in for the purposes of this video so that I can be able to show you. So once you log in, there will be several sections. There are pretty much 5 easy steps that you need to go through on this website to create your CV. And we will go through each one of them so that you understand what I mean. So the first step, obviously, this is just a very simple step. It's a welcome. And now from here, the first thing you do is, before you start, please select the language, because the Europass CV format can be written in several languages, and these languages mostly are European related languages. However, in this case, we definitely want it in English, so you create the CV using the English language. And the other thing that is going to ask you is the date format that you would prefer. This is neither here nor there. So depending on how you prefer things to be done, you will not be reprimanded for this. So please choose whatever you want, really, if you feel that, perhaps it's easier for you in numbers, or you want, the short form of the month added, that's fine. So, okay, so British, American, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, then the other thing that you need to add here is your photo. Now, obviously, this is very straightforward. So, because you would just need to select a photo, and this photo should be something that is very clear and very representative of you, and it's just a close-up photo of your face, really. So do not go choosing those photos where you're posing and perhaps they are not relevant to this application. So please make sure that you're choosing the correct photo. The limit of the size of this photo should be 20 MBs. So if you have a length, a big size of photo, make sure that it is resized to fit this size. Okay, and now you would definitely either drag it in, obviously, and just upload it there. It's straightforward from there. Now, one thing that you will notice is that each of the sections of the Europass format will have what we call tips. And tips, basically, are just a guide to let you know what are they expecting you to write on this CV. So we will focus on someone who is looking for scholarship, because this, my channel is all about the scholarships. I get a lot of you asking about scholarships and also Erasmus and all that kind of thing. So we will focus on someone who is trying to get a scholarship and wants to write their CV using this format. So one of the tips that you can see here is basically just letting you know that you would just need to put in your first name and surname, and if you have more than one first name or surname, start with the one you usually use. So it guides you even into the naming that you have. Make sure you update the About Me section to highlight why you are the best person for the job. In this case, why you're the best person for the scholarship. And do not include a full detailed history. Focus on the facts and main points. Because one thing that you will notice here, even when you're doing a normal application for a scholarship, you need to be straight to the point and not blabbering and saying loads of stories which are unnecessary. You would need an email address that is also official. So if you have some email addresses that you consider that this is not official, this is not something that you can even use on LinkedIn and so on and so forth, please make sure that you create an email address that you can use for this particular process, because they will look at it and maybe someone will look at it and be like, okay, what is happening here? So you do need a formal email address, and also a phone number at which you can be reached, such as maybe your mobile number. And you can be able to put in your mobile number for your own country. That's fine. So that's not a problem. So in case, for instance, here, maybe we will just use Jane and the last name Ondura. And then over here, we can say about me. You can say I perhaps am seasoned. This is just an example. So please make sure speaker and project manager. All right. And you can, all right, put in several details that are relevant to this particular application. So if, for example, you are someone who is applying for a business course, or let's say you're applying for a project management course, so you would put in your details. Who are you in a nutshell? Don't give so many details. Just make sure that you're straight to the point, and put in who are you in a nutshell. Now, the format, the CV, Europass format requires you to also put in your date. However, in some cases, you might leave this out. For the purpose of not being discriminated. Obviously, if you're not don't want to also indicate your gender, you can click on do not indicate. Other than that, you can just basically select from the list. And then nationality, you can say here, I will say Kenyan. All right, and so here female, and then from there you would put in your email address. So I'm just going to put any email address. I'm just not going to put my official email address here. So I'll just put in there, and then your phone number, mobile number, and let's see here. Okay, it should click on and see. We need 254. All right. That's Kenya, and it would be 112222333. All right. Social media. In this case, nowadays, it's very crucial to put in your social media. I would recommend you putting the LinkedIn, your LinkedIn, all right? And the LinkedIn can be LinkedIn / I'll just put my LinkedIn there. All right, so it needs to be www. Yes. All right, and then from there you can see instant messaging. If you want, to have instant messages, I would leave this one out. However, if you want them to have your WhatsApp, then you can put in your mobile number right there. A website in case you have any formal websites, but if in this case you do not have, you can leave that out. And then your address, this would be your home address, and your home address can pretty much be anything that is maybe your PO box. So in this case, it could be like a PO box. I'm just gonna put PO box, and I'll put 1111 Nairobi 00100, and I will put Nairobi. And the postal code actually should be here. So here it's 00100. So I will put that there and remove this. Okay, and this would be Nairobi. And this next would be Kenya. All right. Okay, so we have our first step done. So it's as easy as that, really. So you have your first step. You've already put your photo there, your close-up photo. It's time to go to the next step. Remember, this is for someone who is actually applying for what we call a scholarship, right? So in this case, it takes you to the next section. And as you can see here, we already have your information right there. It's already appearing. So it's pretty easy to see. Okay, what you can change, you can always edit in case something is incorrect or something is formatted incorrectly. Okay, and then you would go to the next section, and in this next section, what is required of you is to add in several details. So usually the Europass format would have, several aspects of either your work experience, your education, your language skills, digital skills, conferences, anything that you really do want to add. All these sections are stipulated right there. Okay, so in the first place, obviously, what you would maybe want to put in, since this is something that you're applying for, your scholarship, so you would potentially put maybe your work experience. Okay, so this would be occupations or positions that you have held. Begin once again with the newest first. It will also, once again, it's important to check the tips here. So it's describe your task, skills, achievements, and the added value that you have brought in your role for each position. Include your skills that match the needs of the specific job. And obviously make sure that you start with those tasks that are very, very relevant. So perhaps maybe you are looking for a scholarship in project management. Once again, I would say, so you can say project manager at Okay, so it's already filling in the details. So project manager, and you can say, you know, who is your employer in this case, or you can put in, this is very optional, in case you want to add an alternative name for your occupation, then you can put that in. However, this is not very relevant as it is. So you can put who is your employer. Let's put, for instance, nation. This is just an example, really. And this would be in Nairobi. Make sure that the font is also correct. Nairobi, and this would be, let's say, in Kenya. And this would be now maybe your very latest. So you can say this is ongoing. Perhaps you began this on the 1st of January 2022. So this is ongoing. So that is very important. The thing that you need to notice here is that you have to be very precise. Do not write so many stories. So it's basically to describe your tasks and responsibilities. For example, if you're into computing, then obviously you would say maybe you're into computer maintenance, you are into perhaps maintaining the database of the company that you're working in, and so on and so forth. So if you're a project manager in this case, you can easily, for instance, say that maybe you're doing maybe you're managing a project in the urban settlement of Nairobi, and maybe you're also perhaps monitoring and evaluating the project. In this case, you can be very specific. Perhaps maybe you're also managing, because this is ongoing, remember, managing a team of 10 employees in the department, okay, and so on and so forth. As you can see, it's very precise to the point. You're not like overstating and telling stories, because sometimes we tell too many stories on our applications, and it's not what should be happening, okay? And this is very important for you, so that you can, you know, also learn to be straight to the point. When someone asks you something, you know, you get to be straight to the point. Okay, so in this case, I will go to the next step. And in case you also have questions, please feel free to ask the questions, okay? And I will answer them towards the very end of this live session. So you can save this and now add any more work experience that you potentially could have. Maybe you also worked for, say, I'm just going to put in another news channel, Citizen. Okay, maybe here you are as an assistant project manager. Okay. All right, let's see whether it's listed or not. If it's not listed, it's just fine. Honestly, you can just put it in right there. And maybe your employer was Citizen, and again in Nairobi, and in this case was also in Kenya. All right, okay. Okay, Kenya, and maybe in this case, then you started this job perhaps 1st of February 2021 and ended maybe in, let's say, the 31st of December 2022, actually 2021, so that you can begin the other one. All right, and then like again, put in what were your tasks here. So maybe assistant to the senior project manager. Here you can say the achievements. Maybe you are successfully managed project that lasted maybe that reached out to 1 million people, and this here you can maybe say, if, for example, maybe it was a food security project that reached out to 1 million people, who knows. Here you can also say successfully successfully reached perhaps maybe 1 million in profits for the company. Is this 1 million? Let's see whether it's 1 million. It's yes, it's exactly in profits for the company. You can put any other success story that was there, all right, and just basically show what experience that you had. Remember, these points that you're putting in here should be very relevant to the scholarship that you're applying for. So it should be relevant to what type of caliber of person are they looking for in terms of experience. Or if, for example, maybe this was your own project, you can say that led the project from start to finish and reached out to, say, 500,000 beneficiaries, such kind of a thing. This is an example. However, again, it melts down to exactly what are you trying to apply for, who are you as a person, etc, etc. Now, I want to go to the next section because usually the work experience depends on what, how much maybe you have worked or even maybe volunteered, who knows. So this, as you can see already, is that the Europass CV format usually just makes everything look better for you. So you can always edit, you can delete, you can move things up and down depending on how relevant they are and how recent they are, and so on and so forth. Now, we will go to the next section. So you can add the next section, and in this case, you can add education and training. This is the part where you put in your qualifications. And so here, for example, you can put in your bachelor's degree. So you can say bachelor in project management. Once again, very crucial to maintain congruence. So bachelor's in project management, and maybe you can say Nairobi University. This is just an example again. Then the name of the website of the university, I believe it's www.uonbi.co.ke, and this is Nairobi, and it would be that it's obviously in Kenya. And then you can put in when this happened. Perhaps you started this course on the 10th, let's say 10th of September, usually, maybe depending on when you started it. Then you can say perhaps, let's say it was 2015 or 2016, who knows, depending really, 2016 to maybe the 1st of December. This should be 4 years. Okay, so it's 2020. Yes. So you can put in the details there. And now you would need to add newer education training, qualifications that you might perhaps have. Maybe you did a project management certificate, or maybe we can even put in Prince 2, such kind of things, depending on whether you have done them or not. Prince 2, we can say maybe Institute of Project Management in Nairobi, and you can put in their websites there, and the city would be Nairobi, and this is once again in Kenya. So maybe you did this when you were doing your course, your university course, who knows? So maybe it took you, depending on how long it took you, maybe it was between 2018 and I'll just put any figure here. Then this is maybe until 2019, all right? And you say that. So this has to be very relevant to the course that you are applying for. So if, for example, you're applying for a business course, you cannot just go saying there, oh, I also have an IT certificate. It's not relevant in this case. It's okay to have it, but it's not relevant in whatever that you're applying for, because what you say on your statement of purpose has to be very congruent with what you're saying on this CV. So, you cannot say one thing here, one thing there, and one thing maybe on the interview. So you can say one thing on the statement of purpose, another thing on the CV, and once you do an interview, it will be another thing. That is not going to work well for you, okay? Now, you also do need to add another section here. So it would be, for example, if you've done conferences and seminars, then you can add such things if they are relevant once again. So you can say conference here, conference of project management. This is just a dummy name. Once again, you can put in the exact name of your conference. And just in case you went there, you should be very careful here, because they do check a background check of maybe if you're telling the truth or not. So be very careful to not be dishonest. So we can say perhaps this conference was a 2-day conference, who knows, maybe you went, let's put in maybe Kigali, and you can describe the conference. It was, perhaps it was a conference that, maybe you participated in the conference as a speaker. Maybe you say you presented your food security project findings in a panel, and maybe you can say panel and won the best presentation. This is where you really put your best foot forward, because I mean they're going to be wanting to know what caliber of a person are we trying to get here, and make sure that you are putting all the details where that will put you at a better stake over and above everybody else who is a candidate and who is applying for this application. So you can put in right there, and then from there, you can add other sections. For example, maybe things like honors and awards. Maybe you were awarded, maybe you are ISEC honor, and this would be maybe ISEC, and maybe they give this to you when you graduated, who knows. It could be whatever the date, and you can say what award this was. So you can be award for being very influential in the project management club of the University of Nairobi. This is again something that you would possibly, if you have a video, maybe, or a file, or maybe like a link to a magazine that's saying, or an article that is saying that you are given this award. This would be very, very crucial to add here, so that you are elevating yourself and you're showing that for real you are very legitimate. Okay. Again, you can add another new section for especially the language skills. So in this case, you can put in language skills, and again, this is very crucial to check the tips. So, for example, if you're from Kenya and we speak English and Swahili, and maybe you have another mother tongue, then the first thing that you would need to put in here would be English. Okay. So English, and you can say add another mother tongue. Again, this should not be mother tongue, because we are not necessarily English is not our first language. So you can say instead Kiswahili or Swahili. Actually, it should be known as Swahili within the European. Let me see whether it shows up. If it doesn't show up, let's see whether it shows up as Kiswahili. If not, okay. Okay, so we'll just put Kiswahili, and then here we will add English. And in English, they will ask for, your understanding. Remember, this is something very crucial because they will also maybe it's a course you're applying for, and they're asking for an English language proficiency test. So, this is very crucial for you to put in exactly what is your proficiency. If you're listening to me and maybe English is not your first language, and maybe you are trying to also learn, then make sure that you put in the exact level that you're in, all right? So in Kenya, I would say for most people, obviously it would be a C2 proficiency because we use the language right from, very young ages, and we are taught in English. So I would say listening, reading, and speaking would be the same level. And again, if this is not the case for you, please make sure that you're putting in the exact level, and you're not putting yourself in a place where you're, saying that you're in one level, yet when you do an interview or you do your English proficiency test, it does not reflect the same. Okay. Now you can add another language if it's relevant. So, for example, for people who listen to me and maybe they speak another, European language. For example, I'll just put Portuguese here. I have a bias on Portuguese, obviously, but maybe you can put Portuguese. I'll possibly put, for me, B1, everything B1, and be able to put in this language because there are some, master's courses, especially the Erasmus Mundus joint master's courses, that might want you to maybe have another different language, but not all of them really. But it would be an added advantage if you have another language. European language could be Portuguese, Spanish, French, and so on and so forth, depending on the requirements that they have right there. Okay, so now you have put in your language section, and now you also want to put anything else that is relevant to you on this particular, selection of sections. So perhaps maybe you want to add in a few two sections. So maybe we can put in what is relevant here. Maybe we can do perhaps publications. So we can say that maybe you published a conference paper and on best project management skills in Nairobi. Okay, so again, this is an example, right? So 2022, you can put in the link to that particular publication and the reference to that. So who were the other authors? If it was just you, was it, maybe a journal? If it was a journal, what's the title of the journal? When was it published? Not published? And again, put in the link to the file. Put in the description of that particular publication. What was it about? What was were you talking about there? And making sure that it is relevant once again to the course that you're applying for. And you can click on save. Maybe another section that you could potentially add would be maybe, let's say, this would be the last section, the recommendations. Obviously, you can put in all the sections, yeah? So you can put all the sections that are there. However, they need to be very relevant. So the recommendations would be obviously your referees and people who would potentially be referring you to the program. So this could be like your lecturers, or maybe it's your supervisor at work, or someone who supervised you during your volunteer experience or your internship, and they helped you so much. So you can put in here, I'll just put random names. I'll say Catherine, and maybe this was your supervisor. So here would be both names. So Catherine Kimani, just an example. So C Kimani at gmail.com. Putting their number there. This would be if they're in Kenya, depending, or if they're in a different place. So 222. What is they, they Do they know you? Why are they, good referees for you? So you can say maybe you have known them for how many years? Maybe like 5 years, perhaps, or maybe even more or less, depending. So you can say that if, for example, they are sending you, they've already sent you a recommendation letter, you can also say that they maybe have already recommended you, and they have they have said so and so is being recommended for this course because of their skill set or their knowledge base in project management or their expertise that they showed in a certain project, etc. etc. This section can be also optional. I do believe I saw this somewhere else that it was actually optional. However, again, it's very crucial to check in and see what, in case you want to have them separately, the referees separately, you can leave out this section, potentially, the recommendations section, and put in maybe recommendations on your application, general application. However, I would personally recommend you to actually put this section because it shows the credibility of your application, and it also shows the congruence of what you're trying to apply for here, and showing that you have referees, they've given the letters, here their names, you can feel free to reach out to them on this particular number, and so on and so forth. I hope this is very clear. And if it's not clear, please let me know on the comment section, and I will get onto it. Now, like I mentioned before, you can put in pretty much all the sections right here, okay, if they're relevant. Things like a driving license, especially if you're not applying for a job, might not be relevant in this case. Creative works could be relevant if, for example, you're applying for an arts course or like, something to do with music, dance. We have lots of those, especially with Erasmus and also with other courses that are within Europe. We have communication and interpersonal skills. This could be also crucial, especially if you're applying for like maybe a job that is related to journalism, and also if the program that you're applying for, perhaps, for example, would need you to do a lot of communication and do a lot of work that involves people. This would be a good section to add. Hobbies and interests are always good to add. However, they're not necessarily very crucial for you to add, but you can add the hobbies and interests that you might have. And also, let's see something else, social and political activities. This could only be relevant if, for example, the course that you're doing, involves some sort of social or political aspect in it. Maybe it's a law course, or it's a policies course, or it's a politics course, and so on and so forth. One very crucial also thing to add is volunteering. That's very, very, very crucial. So if, for example, you volunteered in a certain organization, and you can put in the location and what skills and what exactly you did in that volunteer experience, because some people who might be listening to this might just have graduated, and maybe you just have a volunteer experience, you don't have like work experience. So this would be a very important section to add, because it shows that you have volunteered your skill set and you have some sort of relevant experience in that field. So here maybe you can say self-help group, maybe. And this would be, again, Ruby, let's see, and you can put in maybe you volunteered between 2018 to, let's say, 2018, could be also ongoing, who knows. And you can say what exactly you do, and if there's a link, again, it's very important to back up with links, files, videos that are, once again, relevant towards the thing that you're saying that you did exactly. Now, as you can see here, we have been building something, right? We've been building, and it's pretty much very easy to build a CV on this website, because it's a very self-explanatory. You don't have to worry about, oh, how does it look? Should I format this? Should I format the other? So I will go to the next section. to show you how it looks. So if you click on next, it will give you a set of templates that you can choose from. Okay, and as you can already see, we have been creating a really good looking CV right here that is straightforward. It shows your work experience, your education. I say usually make sure that this is not more than to the very most 3 pages. If you push it to the very, very most, honestly, making sure that it sticks to the 2 pages. So you're straight to the point, you're not overdoing things. And as you can see here, we already just have at least 1 page, so it's very good already. If you want to add other things, then you can add them right there, and you can then see what template you want to have. This is not something that you can be penalized for, so you can choose whatever the template, and I'm just going to click on several of them, on the 4 of them. They're usually 4 of them, and you can see that they are, have different interfaces. So depending on what you find as something that you feel this is what would represent you best, then you can choose any one of these templates. As you can see here, there's another one right here. So this is also another template. You can have another template here. So this is just, again, changing the interfaces. Once again, you can also see different colors if you, in case you're also into color scheming. And okay, so you can change into different colors, and let's just put yeah. So as as you change the color schemes, then it changes. So it would be very relevant, especially for such a template, right? So you can choose whichever of the templates that you want here. I would suggest choosing not to be very too colorful and all these kind of things. And then blue is mostly what is mostly representative of Europe. So blue or light blue, depending. This would be more representative of the European color schemes. So actually, even purple is also representative of the EU. So really depending on you, what you feel. I feel for me that blue would be a better option for your CV. And I'm just gonna choose one template here and then go to the next section. So this was just basically choosing your template, okay? And then you can also add in, if you choose whether to have the Europass logo, first page only or every page. Again, this is dependent on you, okay? So you can have it every page, first page, no or not at all. I think I would have it just the first page only. You can add page numbers. You can either say yes or no. I would say yes, perhaps. Okay. You can also choose to add a closing statement at the bottom of your CV. I mean, this is not against something that you really do need to do. This would be very relevant, again, maybe for like a cover letter, but I personally don't add it. However, you can add it. Nobody's going to penalize you for that again. So you can just choose something else and move on. All right, so the next step is really easy. So you have already created a whole CV, and all you need to do is 2 steps. We already like almost 1.5 pages here, as from the formatting. So you only need to download this CV. So you can name the CV. Basically, just come here, name it, and download the CV. Okay, because in this case, if you're applying for something, the scholarship, then you would just download it. And once you download it, give it a second. It's going to download, and you can just save it wherever, and we will open that and see how it looks like. And let's see. So okay. So this is the CV. It's looking good in terms of the interface. Obviously, the details could be better depending on what you're applying for. You can always go back to edit in case you see something is wrong. You can always go back and edit, and so you would come back here and decide that you're okay. You can click on finish, but you can always come back and edit. So you could go back here and see. Let's see, create a CV again. No, it should be from the profile that we created. Just a second. Okay, 1 minute. Let me just share this. So it would be back to your applications, actually not your applications, your CV that are already on the tab. So if you click, let me see whether I'm sharing. I think I'm sharing or not. I guess I will see. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it's taken me right back to the original tab, and I think it should show me now. Okay, so we have a CV here, which you can, be able to edit. So I think it's pretty much self-explanatory. I'm just gonna stop sharing now and be able to take all your questions so that we are able to be aligned. In case you have any questions, specific questions, I will go ahead and check the comment section and also check other questions that were asked before about general application questions. Honestly, so let me stop sharing, and you can be able to ask whatever the questions that you might have. Okay. All right. Ready. Okay, so here we are. I guess this has been, let's see. All right, I see a few of you who've joined. And so one question is, why is Erasmus asking for IELTS when our Kenyan education system is English taught from preschool to university? Is there a way we can surpass that? Yes. So in case you see a program that is asking for an English language test, then the first thing to do is to send an email to the program coordinator asking whether they can be able to waive that English language proficiency test for you. They can say a yes or a no. It's up to their own discretion. If they say no, then they can be able to, you can now maybe plan to do the IELTS test. And I know it usually takes a long period of time even to book the test and pay for it and etc. So what you can also tell them is, hey, I'm going to take a bit of time before I can get my test back. Is it okay for me to submit this test much later after the submissions have been done? And you can submit your application without it, having told the program coordinator that you can, you need to submit it much later. But the first thing first is to ask that program coordinator whether they can waive that test for you. They can say yes or no. It's up to their own discretion, honestly speaking. And this is not just Kenyans who are being asked this, it's all across the globe. It's not a Kenyan thing, it's 100% across the globe. Some programs also say explicitly that if you're from maybe Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, and so on and so forth, you don't need to submit this English language test. So also check the eligibility requirement and criteria that has been set right there. All right. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go to the next question, and where could we possibly add MOOCs? Does it fit in education and training section? MOOC, yes, could you please elaborate what you mean by that? And I will maybe address it. So what happens if your work experience isn't related with the scholarship course you're applying for? Does it reduce the chances of being selected? Not necessarily. So what I would say is, for example, in, maybe you're applying for a course, say in IT, and you are experienced in business, right? So you can potentially say that maybe you being exposed to business, you maybe are interested in the IT course due to maybe a gap that you found within the business that you have been, experienced in, the field that you've been experienced in. So you need to prove the reason as to why you think that you're a good candidate for an IT course despite being in the business field and experiencing the business field. Maybe it's a gap you found. Maybe it's perhaps something that, you think could be better if you had the IT skills, right? So nowadays, for example, maybe you're in a business field and maybe you want to venture into things like e-commerce, and you think that learning some IT skills could benefit you, in the business field, whether it's your own project or you want to go back to your own country and continue on what you've been doing. You really do need to merge the two. Otherwise, if they don't merge, they is not going to work out very well for you, because as much as all Erasmus programs are not necessarily, they do not check mostly like, oh, this is the background that this person has had. They also check the experiences that you've had, the volunteer experiences that you've had, etc, etc. It's very crucial to marry the two. If they don't marry, then this works against you, which is not a good thing. Okay. So you meant the massive online courses. Okay. Yes. So the massive online courses that you might have, and maybe especially those ones that you got like a certificate. Maybe you did a course on like Coursera, for example, and they offered you a certificate. Then yes, you can add it in the education and training section, and this could suffice as part of the education that you have, received. And again, make sure that where you got this from. So I'm just going to quickly share here my screen so that you can see what I mean. So it should be exactly which section you should put it. It would be, let me see, okay. So it would be, for example, if you're education and training, right? And you can put in, maybe you had like, say again, foundations of project management. This is an example, foundations of project management. And maybe this was given by this one that is with Google, and you can say in Coursera, and you can put the website here. So www.coursera. I believe it's a .com or a .org. I am not quite sure. So it should be a w dot. And this would be relevant. This is not applicable with city and the country. I mean, you can just put in Kenya, wherever you are anyways, and you can save this, especially if it's something that you are, awarded and you gained as part of your experience. This is, you can always add the online courses, especially those you have certificates for, okay? And this website here, you can put, usually once you complete like an online course, they would have a link maybe to your credentials. So you can add those there. Yes, you can. And make sure that the order of it is like you are starting with your bachelor's course or the most relevant course first. So in this case, you're starting maybe with your bachelor's course, and then you're going to your other courses that you have gained over the years, and they have to be very relevant to what you're applying for. So just not anything goes, okay? So I hope I've answered your question. And I guess, yes, thank you so much, guys, for joining. really, and for spending some time with me, really. And one other question that I had is, some people were asking to just get a template for the Europass CV format on Word document. I mean, I can share that, but if you have followed through, it's very easy. You can spend just maybe like an hour or 2 hours where you can create your CV on the Europass website. And the beauty of it is that it will stay there in case you need to change anything. You can always just go change there and download it as a PDF, because you will eventually still need it as a PDF. So it's very, very easy, straightforward, honestly speaking, if you ask me. And I do hope that you can follow through step by step, slowly by slowly, taking it easy, asking even for people who have maybe gone through the same program to check your CV, whether it's good to go. And remember, the thing that you need to be very sure about is that your CV and what you say on your statement of purpose and what you say on your general application, all these things are in line. So don't say one thing here and then say one thing on the CV, say another thing on your statement of purpose, say another thing on your general application, and then when the interview comes, you're saying a whole different other thing. Really, that is not going to work out very well for you. So please make sure that you are very, very consistent. So I do hope that, I think, this session is helpful to you. I will do other sessions which have been requested. So this one was one of the requested sessions to have a Europass TV format. I possibly will do one for statement of purpose that, maybe next week, who knows, but I'll announce it again on this channel. And I think I've also done quite a number of videos which can be very helpful to you. I've spoken to a few people who've applied for a few courses here and there. So you can follow through those videos for inspiration. You can always ask me any questions in the comment section. I'm happy to answer these questions because I myself, when I was applying, I did not have this type of help. So I really would hope that I can answer your question. Or if I don't answer your question, then I can ask someone who is at par with what you're asking. So yeah, okay. So you have a shortlisted like 10 programs from the catalog. I hope the 3 limit was waived. I had mixed reactions about it. Yes. So the limit of applying for just 3 programs, that was waived. Yes, you can apply for more. I would not expect you to qualify for 10 programs though, but I would expect at least, you're making sure that all the programs you're applying for, they are within your skill set, they're within your experiences, and you're not thinning yourself out of these programs. So basically make sure that all the programs, whether they are 3, they are 4 or 5, then you are doing your very, very best. You're not just using one statement of purpose for all of them, that you are creating each statement of purpose for each program as it is. So I do hope that you do that, and wishing you all the very best. If you're listening to this much later as well, wishing you the very best. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Stay tuned for more, obviously. And I do hope that you follow through all the right pages. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whichever you prefer, and I will be more than happy to interact with you and answer the questions that you might have. So thank you once again for listening to this, whether it's good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I do hope that you shoot your shot, because this is the time to apply for these programs. If you're looking to also do a self-funded program, this is the time to do it. So I do hope that these videos help you, and that you are able to follow through, and eventually you can become a successful candidate. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will end it at that, and have a good one wherever you are. All the best. Bye.